With the announced launch of Xbox Game Pass and the upcoming paid Nintendo Switch online service, it seems inevitable that physical releases are headed the way of the dodo in favor of a new, dark, digital future. It's surprising now to think that this isn't a new trend. In fact, having consumers cough up monthly subscription fees has been an over 30-year dream in the industry. Welcome to Punching Weight, a celebration of the weird, ambitious, and unnecessary. And for this episode, we're going to take a look at 3 different console gaming services that lived and died decades before Spotify, Netflix, and even Napster. This is Punching Weight, episode 13, Console Downloads Before the Internet. We start back in 1983 with Control Video Corporation's game line for the Atari 2600 and assorted 2600 compatible systems. The ColecoVision, Sears Video Arcade, Coleco Gemini, Columbia Home Arcade, and the Intellivision. If you've never heard of some of these systems, that's because this era was glutted with more low-quality copycat systems and games than the market could handle. And this is part of the reason the market crashed. GameLine was created by early internet pioneer / vagabond Bill Von Meister after his idea to deliver songs via cable, basically Napster on your TV, was shut down by Warner Brothers Music Group. Again, this is only 1983. Undeterred, he shifted focus to the booming video game industry. To play a game via GameLine, you only needed to set up a pin and then order the game based on a code from the manual. It was impressively affordable for the time, with the master module modem costing about $50 and a subscription fee of only $15 a year. But then, playing the game wasn't free. Subscribers had to pay $1 for about 8 to 10 plays of a game, which, according to the manual, was designed to give the average player about 30 minutes of play. After that, cough up another $1 and get ready for the cost to rack up. The master module came with a RAM of 8K. With a 1200 baud modem, it could apparently download most games in just a few minutes, barely tying up your phone line. Unfortunately, GameLine was pretty much dead on arrival because Control Video Corporation wasn't able to obtain the hottest games of the time from Atari, Activision, etc. The biggest developer they were able to sign was Magic, which produced classic games like Demon Attack? The service was pretty ambitious, and according to their official magazine, CVC was holding high-score contests and was even planning on launching a video typing service. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Where you could send 8,000 character messages by typing with your joystick. By the way, it is 30 years later, and we are still doing the same bullshit. There were also plans for money trading services called Stockline and Sportsline. Unfortunately, CVC chose a bad time to enter the market. All of the expansions planned for the game downloading service never saw the light of day due to the video game crash of 83-84. While GameLine was not the first downloadable gaming service, that honor, by the way, goes to the prohibitively expensive Play Cable for the Intellivision. It was certainly one of the most significant in terms of being ambitious and forward-thinking. Following its shuttering in 1984, the heads of CVC decided to take GameLine tech, as well as tech from the Commodore 64's PlayNet, and repurpose it for the Commodore 64 and other computers, launching Quantum Link. From there, they evolved it and relaunched it in 1991 as a service you may have heard of, AOL. To think You've Got Mail was almost, You've Got Video Typing. Next, we take a trip across the Pacific to a service only available in Japan. I'm talking, of course, about the Nintendo's first venture into the pre-World Wide Web, the Famicom Network System. Released in 1988, this service really only deserves an honorable mention, as it never actually delivered on Nintendo's hopes to create a home game distribution service. This bad boy was pitched to Nintendo by Japanese financial services group Nomura Securities, who wanted to service all the hotshot Nintendo customers who were obsessed with stock prices and trading before the '91 Japanese stock market crash. At the time, over a third of all Japanese households had a Famicom, an incredible install base. Who wouldn't want a slice of that? Nintendo agreed on the hope that they could use it as a jumping-off point to launch an online gaming service. Alas, it was not meant to be, despite some prototype games that were in the works. These were abandoned because Nintendo, unlike CVC, couldn't figure out how to download onto their cartridges. Games like Go would require a constant cable connection. Remember, this is the 80s. This wasn't even on the internet. We have no idea how much this would have cost, but I'm confident it would have cost more money than anyone should spend on a game that was invented before Jesus. The Famicom modem only shipped out about 130,000 units. Compare that to, again, a third of all Japanese houses, and petered out around 1991. Its main saving grace was its horse betting services, which over 100,000 machines used. The thing is, Nintendo tried to bring the service to the US in the early 90s. Yup. Spurred on by the network's relative success as a gambling service in Japan, Nintendo, with the Minnesota lottery in tow, wanted to make it easier for people to buy lotto tickets? And, well, this was met with a lot of pushback, with people like Minnesota's former gaming commissioner saying things like, "You can't create safe sins!" Video games in the US were almost exclusively marketed to children at the time. They were certain that children would be able to bypass Nintendo's security measures to gamble their little hearts out, and yeah, fair enough. The Famicom Network System's US ambitions ended when Minnesota got cold feet on gambling in general. Eventually, Nintendo turned the network into the Super Mario Gaming Club for arcades and toy stores, who created a database of Famicom game reviews. We were unable to find running footage of the service, but Nintendo used it for market research until they abandoned it for the Satellaview. We finish on a network system that appeared in the mid-90s, one you may be familiar with, Sega Channel for the Genesis. This cable service was a follow-up to Japan's and later Brazil's Sega MegaNet. Like the previous cable services we've mentioned, this hot customer used cable lines to deliver content straight to your TV screen, though it had a distinct advantage in the form of an exclusive distribution deal with Time Warner Cable and TCI.
It's the new age in cable television. Sega Channel, available now through your cable company.
This service, which went live in 1994, was only available to a few markets across the US, but it was a doozy. After a $25 activation fee, subscribers paid about $15 a month to have access to as many as 50 games a month. Players could then download a game directly to their system in a matter of minutes to the modem cartridge, which would then function like any other cartridge until your system was turned off. This meant that all of your progress would be kaput, gone, so good luck playing through Phantasy Star 2. This idea was just meant to give gamers a chance to sample a game so they would be enticed to rent or buy it later. The cartridge had 4 megs of RAM on board, which meant that while it could hold most Genesis titles no problem, certain titles, and I'm looking at you, Street Fighter 2, required stripped down special editions just so that they could fit on the damn thing. The system delivered fast download speeds of 1.1 MHz over a coaxial cable. Unlike the Game Line and Famicom network, the Sega Channel was a one-way street, and users could only download content to their TVs, not send things like scores, messages, or stock market trades into the ether. Sega did hold contests, however, but it required people to call in to a special number to claim their prizes.
Sega Channel, Sega Channel, Sega Channel.
Sega Channel did have some fun exclusives though, like demos and previews of titles like Primal Rage. It also featured a few US exclusives. Games like Pulseman, Mega Man: The Wily Wars, and Alien Soldier never got a physical release in the North American market. What other games were available? Well, it turns out that part of their 1997 website was archived, so let's get hooked in. Ooh, get a load of this website. Ah, wow. Hey, look at that family fun. Wow. That's a Sonic. Wow, this is what a website. This is a website, guys. Remember this website? Oh man. Despite how revolutionary this was, the service peaked with 250,000 subscribers, which is a lot less than the 1 million Sega was expecting. For real though, the Genesis came out in 1989, so the Sega Channel wasn't available until way into the system's lifespan. The service officially ended in 1998, which was a full 3 years after the Saturn launched. The Sega Channel is the most tragic of all of these ideas because it was basically the Netflix of gaming. It's something gamers still want, and something companies have been trying to provide since. The idea is still getting reiterated on, with the Xbox Game Pass basically advertising the same service, except for the small fact you get to keep the game for 30 days instead of for just as long as you felt comfortable leaving your Genesis on. While it's pretty incredible that these services were around without the benefit of the internet, it's crazy that this idea of online try before you buy hasn't been seriously reiterated on since. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos about the weird side of gaming. Our last video was a review of Exact's 3D epic, Ghost in the Shell for the PS1. Look forward to our next video, which is going to be be a look at the darker side of a certain Taito franchise. We are a Patreon-supported show, thanks to all these people who made this show possible. If you'd like to keep the show running, go ahead and click the link below and kick a couple bucks our way. Thanks, and have a great rest of your time on this website.